So in this video, we are going to be looking at the discretionary powers of the President of India. So the first one that we'll look at is inviting a leader to form the government. We have already seen that after a general election, the President actually invites the leader who commands the majority in the Lok Sabha. However, who does he invite and how does he know this? So again, this is a discretionary power to invite a leader to form the government. If after a general election there is no clear majority in the Lok Sabha, it is upon to the discretion of the President to call upon leaders of parties or coalitions to prove their majority. This can have far-reaching effects on which parties actually get to form the government. Let us say party A has 235 seats in the Lok Sabha, and let us say party B has 230 seats in the Lok Sabha. Now obviously both of them don't have majority, but both of them are trying to form coalitions with other parties so that they reach the magic figure of 273. Now the President gets to decide whether he calls party A or party B first to form the government. So any party that he can choose to call any party, as both the parties do not have majority. So if he feels that party B has a better chance of forming the government, he can call party B first with 230 seats before the party A, which has 235 seats. So this is a discretion that he has. So between 1989 and 2009, both general elections included, there have been coalition governments. During this period, the presidents have used their discretion and directed prime ministerial aspirants to establish their credentials before being invited to form the government. Hence, asking particular leaders and prime ministerial candidates to prove their majority and resolving conflict in a hung assembly and inviting the candidate who the president thinks has the majority, which would later anyways be subjected to a floor test, to form the government are all within his discretion. So this is a great discretionary power that the president has. He can decide as to which leader he wants to invite first to form the government. Of course, anybody who he calls should actually have the majority, and this has to be proved on the floor of the Lok Sabha. However, it can have a big impact when the elections have been really close. Like the example I gave, if one party has 230 seats, the other one has 235, both are trying to make coalitions to reach 273. In such a case, this discretionary power of the president can be very, very useful. Second point, the veto powers of the president, which will be discussed extensively as we go ahead in this chapter, are also part of his discretionary powers. So please remember, the veto power of the president is a discretionary power. So once you read about veto powers, you will understand. The third one, the right to be informed of the matters of the union. We have already seen this. Under Article 78 of the Indian Constitution, the president not only has a right to be informed of the matters of the union, but he is also empowered to seek information from the Prime Minister about the running of his government. So it is actually the duty of the Prime Minister and his Council of Ministers to furnish information to the President about the affairs of the Union. However, if such information is not presented to the President by the Council of Ministers, or if the President wants some particular information about the affairs of the Union, he is empowered under Article 78 to ask his Council of Ministers to provide such information to him. This is both affairs on the administration of the state and affairs of the legislative matters that the union government is planning to bring before the parliament. So the president has a right to be informed of the matters of the union under Article 78. The next point, summoning of the parliament. The maximum break between two sittings of parliament is supposed to be a maximum of 6 months according to Article 85 of the Constitution. If the Council of Ministers does not advise him to summon the Parliament even after such a time period has lapsed, the President may choose to summon the Parliament at his discretion. So generally summoning, proroguing, dissolving, all of this happens on the aid and advice of the Prime Minister and his Council of Ministers. However, let's say that the Council of Ministers has not called for a session of the Parliament and the gap has been greater than 6 months. Then the President has the discretionary power to call or summon the parliament. The next point, dissolving the Lok Sabha. If a government, due to defection or any other reason, loses majority in the Lok Sabha and this is proved after a floor test, it is up to the president to either dissolve the Lok Sabha or continue with it, allowing the minority government more time to cobble together a majority. So let's say that some party had a very narrow majority of 280 seats in the Lok Sabha. Now 10 of its MPs have defected to the opposition. Okay, so it has only 270 seats, which is not a majority in the Lok Sabha. So with 270 seats, this becomes a minority government in the Lok Sabha. So after a floor test, if it is found that this party has a strength of only 270 MPs, then the decision then goes to the president whether he chooses to dissolve this government or whether he gives more time to this government to cobble together a majority by inviting or horse trading or taking MPs from other parties. Of course, nothing illegal will be accepted, like horse trading is illegal, that will not be accepted. But if some other MPs or independents are willing to support the government and it can cobble together a majority, then the president has the discretion to give this government some time. So even a minority government can run if the president allows such a government to run. It is not binding upon the president to dismiss a government that does not enjoy a majority in the house if no other party or a coalition also enjoys it. So in the floor test, if it is proved that no other party or coalition is also enjoying a majority, then the president can allow even a minority government to function. So this concludes the discretionary powers of the president. In the next video, we will look at the military powers of the president. Thank you.